I mean, like they say in the television studio, you're live.
You are live, sir.
All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the June 10th, 2021 Coastal Permit Administrator hearing. And let's go ahead and get started. So just a quick little disclaimer, effective April 16, 2020, the Mendocino County Coastal Permit Administrator meeting will be conducted virtually and not available for in-person public participation pursuant to state executive orders. Meetings are live streamed and available for viewing on the Mendocino County YouTube webpage at http://www.youtube.com Mendocino County Video. All right, so it is 11:01, so I will call the meeting to order. And do we have a determination of noticing?
Every project has been noticed appropriately.
Thank you. So that moves us to item number 3, the regular calendar, and we'll start off with item 3A, which is case B 2021-0014. The owner applicant is David and Linda Klein. The request is a coastal development boundary line adjustment to merge 2 lots in Anchor Bay. Parcel 1, APN 144032-01, and Parcel 2, APN 144032-02 will become a single parcel of 0.30 plus or minus acres. It has been determined that this project is categorically exempt from CEQA. The project is located within the coastal zone, 3.5 miles northwest of Guala at the intersection of Ocean View Avenue and Ocean View Way within Anchor Bay Unit 1 subdivision, located at 35,571 Ocean View Way in Anchor Bay. With that, can I please have a staff report?
Surely. Good morning, Nash. Russ Ford, staff planner. So this is a pretty straightforward project. This is just a request to merge 2 lots in the Anchor Bay subdivision. So the lots were created by final map recorded on July 3rd, 1960. They've remained unchanged since that time, so 61 years or so. David and Linda Klein acquired title on November 20th of last year and filed an application to merge the 2 lots. Both lots are currently zoned and classified rural residential 5-acre minimums with a variable density to suburban residential. And they're served by the Anchor Bay Water Works for domestic water and the Mendocino County Water Works District 2 Anchor Bay for sanitary sewer, which means that the minimum lot size is actually 6,000 square feet. Both lots are currently conforming. They will remain conforming following the merge. Lot 2 is improved with a single-family residence. Lot 1 is currently vacant, so this adjustment would actually reduce the density by removing the ability to build an additional single-family residence on Lot 1, as second units are not currently allowed in the coastal zone. So this project was heard by the subdivision committee this morning. The subdivision committee recommended approval with conditions per the staff report, as well as a special condition, which is that a note shall appear on the deed indicating that this is a voluntary merger of parcels. And that is what I have.
All right, so thank you. I will note for the record that we do have a ADU ordinance going through the process right now that has been approved at the county level and is with the Coastal Commission. So even if they merge the lots in the future, if the ordinance is certified by the Coastal Commission, they would have the ability to come back and apply for an accessory dwelling unit to the property. So that could change, but presently you are correct. Second units are not allowed on the property, but once the Coastal Commission certifies and the ordinance comes back to the county for final adoption, that will open up the opportunity for a second unit on the property. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and ask if the applicant wishes to speak on this matter.
Let me bring in the applicant now.
Hello, this is Dave.
Yes, do you have anything to add to the discussion this morning?
No, it's looks like a pretty straightforward project to me. So just in case there's any questions, I'm just here to observe.
All right. So is there anybody else from the applicant that wishes to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter?
No, there are not.
All right, so I'll return it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. And after evaluating this request, I will go ahead and approve the project based on the recommended motion contained in the staff report, along with the findings and conditions of approval also contained within the staff report. And action, approved, findings per staff report, All right,
We also, I think we're adding that special condition about the merge tax.
okay.
Didn't make it into that.
Okay, so let's see here. Can you read that language?
Sure. A note shall appear on the deed
A note shall appear on the deed
indicating that this is a voluntary merger of parcels.
This is a voluntary merger of parcels. So let me read this back. A note shall appear on the deed indicating that this is a voluntary merger of parcels. Okay, special condition number 1. Okay. So with that, I'll go ahead and approve the project based on the findings contained in the staff report, adding special condition number 1 as previously read into the record. Mr. Klein, thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you.
And so your item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so that brings us to item 3B, case CDP 2020-0024. The owner applicant is Paul and Janice Booth. Agent is Wind Coastal Planning and Biology. The request is a standard coastal development permit to construct a single-family residence, including attached decking, patios, and garage. The request includes the installation of mitigation fencing, a primary septic system, and future vested opportunity to install a replacement septic system. Associated development include establishment of a propane tank, a gravel driveway, trenching and underground utilities, and connection to community water district. The project has been determined to be subject to CEQA, and a mitigated negative declaration has been prepared for the project. The project is located within the coastal zone, 0.5 plus or minus miles south of the town of Albion Center, within Pacific Reefs subdivision, located on the northeast side of Pacific Reefs Road, and 0.5 plus or minus miles west of its intersection with State Route 1, located at 34,350 Pacific Reefs Road in Albion. Assessor's parcel number 123-340-13. May I please get a staff report?
Hey Nash, Jesse Waldman, planner for Mendo County Planning and Building Services. And yes, as described, the request is to develop a vacant parcel located within the Pacific Reefs subdivision, just south of Albion Town proper. Staff has prepared a staff report as well as an initial study with a recommendation of approval with conditions for a mitigated negative declaration. There has been a memorandum prepared. It is posted on our website, and I believe that you have that information with you. Thank you. A general overview of the site is the parcel is a vacant parcel. It is located inside of the Pacific Reef subdivision. A geotechnical evaluation of the parcel was submitted with the application, as well as a biological scoping survey, a report of compliance, a reduced buffer analysis, and a takings analysis. In the beginning of this review process, the part of the requirements for submitting an application to Mendocino County is that there be a sign that a notice of posting be done on the site, and our office started receiving public comments early in the review process. Staff has come to a recommendation that this project, with the recommended conditions of approval, is not consistent with the local coastal program with environmental sensitive habitat areas with ESHA, whereas the remaining evaluation of the project, it is consistent with our coastal element and with our zoning regulations. As proposed with the memorandum that was posted this morning, the couple of clarifications is within the staff report, the habitats and natural resources section, specifically page 6, paragraph 7, there should be a note of correction. Previously stated, it was in italics, that the geotechnical report stated, no development shall be permitted within 46 feet of the bluff top, including any proposed mitigation fencing. That is incorrect. It shall state in italics from the geotechnical report, no development shall be permitted within 46 feet of the bluff top edge. Not in italics would be including any proposed mitigation fencing. That is from the California Coastal Commission and from California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And that is due to the environmentally sensitive habitat area on the site. Our office has received multiple public comments as well as additional comments from the California Coastal Commission. The package the proposal that has been presented to Mendocino County provided 3 alternative designs, where 2 of the 3 were found to be more impacting to environmentally sensitive habitat area. And the recommended approval location is within the posted staff report on the site plan, where this shows all the alternative that has the least impacting, it's the least impactful on environmentally sensitive habitat area. Staff found the project to be consistent with our visual resources. We found the project to also be consistent with the zoning regulations for this parcel, which is the Coastal Rural Residential Zoning District, as well as a Development Limitations Combining District. The project is proposed to have adequate facilities, including a well, septic design, driveway access, and satisfied CAL FIRE requirements, as well as Department of Environmental Health. There's been extensive research with California Coastal Commission, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the staff has prepared conditions of approval for mitigated measure, including mitigated measures to help with the continued maintenance of environmentally sensitive habitat areas on this parcel. Staff can go over all of the recommended conditions of approval and also any revisions in the prepared draft memorandum, in the prepared memorandum that was posted this morning. And I would like to just point out that there is a recommended condition that has been added inside of the memo, that prior to any development occurring on this parcel and it be recorded with the grant deed, a site plan, a single site plan showing all restrictions on the parcel, and all restrictions would include the recommendations from the geotechnical report or a qualified geotechnical professional. Also, any buffers that are required for the California Environmental Quality Act, as well as the proposed development. And this site plan would create a simplified area of where the proposed development and where essentially a restricted area where development would not be proposed. That is not within the staff report. It has not been supplied with the entire supplemental package. I do have the biological report on file here in our office and also available to present now if needed, as well as the geotechnical report. With the recommendations prepared in the memorandum and within the staff reports, staff recommends conditions of approval with modifications, and that would conclude my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Yes, so at first you made note that it wasn't consistent, but yet after consultation with the Coastal Commission and the revision of the conditions of approval, the project is now consistent with the LCP and the ESHA requirements.
Thank you, Nash. Yes, Jesse Waldman, planner. With the recommendations of the mitigation measures within the conditions of approval.
As well as the revisions to the conditions of approval 11E and 23A subsection 7, correct?
Correct.
All right. So basically, with these revisions, with these conditions noted in your staff memo dated June 9th, this additional information has been reviewed and the project is now found consistent.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask the applicant or the applicant's agent to speak on this matter.
We have Amy Nguyen and Tara Jackson
All right.
from Wind Planning.
So, hello Tara, hello Amy. I'll let you decide who goes in order first.
Okay, this is Tara Jackson. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Tara Jackson, agent for the applicant with Wind Coastal Planning and Biology. First of all, I'd like to thank planning and building staff, and especially Jesse, for the hard work and dedication and attention to this project. I have a couple of things I would like to bring up, being potential language modifications. So the first of which is regarding the mitigation fence. I do want it to be noted for the record that the overall purpose of the mitigation fence at 15 feet from the bluff edge was to dissuade pedestrians from directly impacting the northern coastal bluff scrub / restoration area. However, we accept the conditions regarding the placement of the fence at 46 feet from the bluff edge, but would like to have some clarifying language because the proposed residence at this point in time is basically on that 46-foot line. So we would like some potential language modifications such as low wooded or rope / row mitigation fence or similar symbolic fence or deck railing. The reason for this is that part of the house will serve as a symbolic fence for keeping people in that 46 from encroaching into the 46 feet. Additionally, part of the patio / deck will also be at the 46-foot line. So if you have a railing, we think that it's rather redundant to have a railing and then right directly in front of that railing, have a low row / rope mitigation fence running along the house. So just we would hope to have some sort of clarifying language such as that. We think that it would still be in conformance with the recommendations of the California Coastal Commission because, as I said, these structures will also be serving a similar purpose. And then in the area that extends to the property line off of the house, one would still need to have the additional fencing. So you would be maintaining a fence the entire length of the property line at 46, but to have some flexibility in the type of fence that would be, considering there's a single family residence there. One other change we are requesting is for condition 22A and B. It is saying that California Department of Fish and Wildlife will need to approve the landscape and staging plan prior to coastal development permit issuance. We find this problematic because this is a condition of approval on an agency that is not obligated to respond and at this time has variable staffing. Therefore, if we are completely dependent upon California Department of Fish and Wildlife approving the landscape and staging plan prior to permit issuance, we could be waiting, potentially a year until they can get to it at that point in time. And so that would also apply in the memo that was recently posted for condition 23 about the exhibit map, where it says by both California Department of Fish and Wildlife and California Coastal Commission. So for both the 23 as well as the 22A, so for 22A, potentially it's saying approved by the county in consultation with California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Similarly, with the exhibit map approved by California Coastal Commission in consultation with California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And those are some of the recommendations that I'm happy to clarify further or answer any questions. And thank you. I have nothing else at this point in time.
Thank you.
Excuse me, this is Angie Lane, clerk of the meeting. Our online feed appears to have a bad echo. Not that any of us in here can see that, but on YouTube, administrator, do you want to take a 5-minute break and I can try to consult with IT? I know of nothing I can do to change it from here.
So let's take a break, but I want to go ahead and ask a question of Jesse on these conditions. Were these amended conditions discussed with the Coastal Commission and with Fish and Game?
We have conducted a site visit with California Fish and Wildlife Services early in the review process. Their staff provided comments in November. Coastal Commission provided comments in conjunction with CDFW earlier in the review process, and the Coastal Commission has provided additional comments as of the 25th of May, and I have not coordinated my memorandum with the California Coastal Commission or with CDFW as this was done yesterday.
So I tend to agree with Tara, but I also don't want to bypass any concerns that the Coastal Commission or that Fish and Game may have, because we could be waiting for a long time to get a concurrent approval. And I guess what I would like to know is, whenever we have a condition like this that relies on another agency, it could hang up the applicant. But at the same time, if they want to see that, I don't want to deny them the opportunity. So we can take a 10-minute break, and if this is something that you can reach out to both agencies at the 10-minute break and see if you can get any clarification on these. Otherwise, I'm more inclined to continue it to the next CPA so that we can get clarified language in here. Because again, I don't want to impose a condition that's going to make it difficult to implement, but I also noticed that a lot of these things came out of the mitigation measures. So I just want to make sure that, is this something that Fish and Game and the Coastal Commission want to see? Or is this something that we can take a look at? But again, I'd be inclined to continue it to the next CPA to get clarification, unless you're able to contact both of these agencies and see where they are on this. And then I'm actually going to need revised language. You know, because I can't assume that they want it unless they've been consulted with. And Tara has her hand raised.
Yeah, so I would just like to point out that in Melissa Kramer's most recent commentary, she did point out that for the mitigation and for any sort of mitigation and monitoring plan, that could be approved by the county. For me, I could see that as being kind of the continuation of trusting the county's oversight regarding the biological protections and analysis. So for something such as a staging or landscape plan, I think that is in conformance with the mindset of the California Coastal Commission, that the county, in consultation with CDFW, does have the authority and expertise to review those kind of mitigation measures that you would see in something a lot even more complex, like a mitigation and monitoring plan, which the staging and the landscape plan would be also just a visual representation of part of this mitigation and monitoring.
I would tend to agree with you, but I don't know how. Like I said, I tend to agree with you, but I also know that the Coastal Commission may want to look at something, and I just want to make sure that they completely want to delegate the authority to the county. So this is something that, if Jesse, if you can do this in 10 minutes, if not, then I'm likely to continue this item until we've got full consultation that they want to relinquish that authority, that they feel totally comfortable with planning and building, approving the landscaping plan, and that we modify the language so that it doesn't appear that the Coastal Commission has to have a say in the landscape plan, but that this is something that's delegated to the county. Again, what I'm looking at is making sure it's totally clear to all parties. So why don't we take a break and we come back and see where we're at. But I still want to hear from the public on this. But we want to take care of this echo. Jesse?
Thank you. Just to clarify, I'm contacting the Coastal Commission and CDFW right now. I will put an urgency on the request. To clarify, would the recommendations be in the memorandum be modified to say in consultation with or approved by the Mendocino County Planning and Building Services, the CPA, or the director, in consultation with CDFW and Coastal Commission, or would it be as stated in the memorandum?
All right, perfect. So we need to address this echo issue and the technical difficulties. And with that, we'll take a 10-minute break.
Okay, so Adrian wasn't getting bad feedback, but then when Tara started talking, she did. I've messaged Scott.
So while you're doing that, I use the restroom.
Perfect.
And we're not on.
No, we're muted and no video.
So the memorandum came in this morning.
It came in at
between
10:30 and 10:45.
So that's not good. Also, are these other agencies going to be in conformance? I'll continue, but the other thing too, I need things.
It's not even needed. What? That's why we're getting the bad echo, because of the owl. It didn't pop up the little, it's not red. Usually it pops up a window that says your owl switched. Everything's, oh, the power was a little loose. Now she kick it or something, maybe? There we go. Oh, wait. Shit. Do that one. Okay. power's tight. Away from this feed. Oh, sorry. Now should we gonna do the, for sure.
Hold on, stay there. I'll go to my office and listen and say test and I'll come right back.
Okay.
Test a couple times.
Test, Adrian. Test, test. Test, Adrian. Test, Adrian. Test, test, test.
I always run. No, I can still hear you.
Okay.
It's not working. But watch. The red light works when you do this.
Oh, but it turns off.
But it doesn't stay. It needs to stay red. No, it's here. Oh.
Yeah, it's this connection down here with Al.
The USB's wearing out. Come on, Al.
So,
Come on, Al.
the only way I could, but you could still hear me?
I can still hear. I mean, they can hear us right now.
Still broadcasting.
So we can try and mute these.
no way that we are going to be able to verify if it's 140 feet or something. There is a that you use, maybe a visual tool that you can use, similar to.
Slow down.
Sailors on the sea use, some kind of device like that.
I'm afraid to talk. I don't know what to use. IT's on his way over, I think I heard Adrian say.
All right.
There are a bunch of apps, but I just assume that, no, hanging apps, I was like, well, they're not gonna. Whatever.
You know what? Our picture went out yesterday.
And you're doing ZA this afternoon too, right?
Yeah. Subdivision went off without a hitch. I thought we were in good strides.
So,
So this, our picture should be right there. It's funny how 30 seconds can feel so long sometimes. Mute there, muted there. I've already. Even when I do all three, you can hear it.
But microphone. Over. Let's see. Over.
No. Okay, so it doesn't make sense to us is that we are muted here. I even muted here. And I muted here, but we still have sound.
Okay.
And on
See
top of that, over here,
Uh-huh.
there's no picture.
Okay, got it.
Hello, Dave.
Yes.
I'm Nash. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So,
Me and Danielle just looked at that, but we didn't know what any of it meant. Okay, now can you hear us? We've changed one setting.
Hello, folks, can you hear us?
Yes, we are heard online on YouTube. So we unfortunately have lost our picture, but people can hear us on YouTube, and I think that if you want to continue the meeting, you can do so when fit.
All right, let's do it. Let's go live.
Okay, we're live.
All right. Jesse, Amy, Tara, can you hear us?
Yep. You're muted, Amy and Tara.
Tara, can you hear us?
So maybe within Zoom it's not working, and she's signed into Zoom, she's not signed into YouTube. So people from the public can hear us, but perhaps not people in the meeting. I've exhausted everything I know.
Hello, we are testing the sound. Can anybody hear us? Tara, Amy?
Let me see if
Jesse?
Jesse is on even.
This is Jessie Waldman, planner for Mendocino County Planning and Building Services, and we are having some technical difficulty. Please wait. We do see your hands raised. We will be with you shortly. Thank you.
So Jesse, could you confirm if you can hear us, please?
Sound coming out of here, they can't hear us. Open, please.
But it was. Okay, Jesse, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Tara, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Amy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Perfect. So I apologize. We've been having some technical difficulties. Our camera is not working now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to conduct the rest of the meeting with sound only. And so the meeting is now back in session at 12:04. Again, I apologize to all of you in the meeting as well as the public. We've had technical difficulties with our system and continue to have technical difficulties with the system. So with that said, I'm going to come back, and we're still on case CDP 2020-0024, and we took a break, which again was supposed to be 10 minutes to address the echo. Unfortunately, our entire system went down. So what I had asked Jesse to do was to follow up with the Coastal Commission and with California Department of Fish and Wildlife. Were you able to do so?
Jessie Waldman, planner. So I have reached out to the California Coastal Commission and CDFW through email. I have not received an email response. I did follow up with a phone call to the California Coastal Commission, and Melissa Kramer is out in the field and she may not be able to get in touch with us during this meeting.
Okay. So with that said, at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the public to see if there's any comments, questions, concerns expressed by the public. So do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item?
I have 2 members of the public. Bill, I will allow you to talk. Please state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and I will start that once you've started.
Okay, thank you. This is Bill Beekler. My wife Cynthia and I are the owners of the property that are directly adjacent to the east of the proposed development. I didn't realize I only have 3 minutes. I'll try to be as brief as possible on this. We have some multiple concerns. Those have been submitted in writing. We had asked for a continuance of the hearing. We stated our objections and then afforded another addendum yesterday, which is in the record. So I would just ask that you all take note of that in the record. I guess just to be brief, our concern is, as Ms. Waldman went through everything there, the litany of considerations. What was noticeably absent was input from the neighboring adjacent properties. And we have tried to provide input going back to October of 2020, and we just weren't able to do that. We haven't been able to really have a means of expressing our concerns about several things. One, of course, is going to be the visual impact that this project, if it was approved as it is, would have on the neighboring properties, both the east and the west. And all 3 of the property owners involved have submitted objections based on that. You know, one of the most important considerations for the visual, and if you're looking at the coastal element, 3.5-1 really talks about the construction of ocean views and the like. We've been asking for story poles to be put on that property because our property is going to be significantly impacted as far as the views are concerned. And really the valuations of the properties will go down considerably. This 46-foot setback is totally out of character with the rest of the development in Pacific Reefs. You know, we're not looking at a total objection to building on the premises. Obviously, the applicant would have the right to build, but what we're asking for in the initial report, there is an option B that would not be objectionable to us. It would maintain the views of all the other properties along the way and would set back another 30 feet or so, maybe even a little more, but it would be consistent with the character of what we have in the property. So we had asked for a continuance or some other issues, septic tank place or septic system placement. We haven't had an opportunity to analyze that, how that would affect our property. It would be totally different from the character of the remaining properties in Pacific Reefs. And I don't think we've had notice the way we should have had notice. We've done a request for public records so we can analyze this information.
3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, if I may just finish that, we would ask that the permit be denied and the continuance be granted so we can analyze this more moving forward.
Thank you.
So do we have anybody else from the public that wishes to speak on this
Yes,
matter?
we do. We have Flint Pulskamp. Flint, I've enabled you to speak. When you're ready, let me know.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, please state your name for
Okay.
the record.
Yeah, so my name is Flint Pulskamp. I am the neighbor 2 doors down from the proposed development to the east. And it looks like we're sticking real close to this 3-minute limit, so I'll make it quick. I presume I'm addressing the Mendo permit administrator. I submitted several days ago, 3 pages of text. I won't go through it all, being that I only have 3 minutes and I can't talk that fast, but I recommend that the permit administrator go through that. My points are laid out in detail, but in general, my objections to this permit and this development, very similar to Bill's, who just spoke. Mostly, I will summarize and say that the communication during this whole process has been fairly lacking. I felt that, like Bill, I have not had an opportunity to voice my concerns with this project, and those that I have concerned either through voicemail or email have been sort of out of hand rejected. I noticed that I am not even on the neighboring properties. I thought that was very interesting and conspicuous, being that the 2 properties to the west are on the neighboring properties. Mine, I am the second property to the east. I wasn't even included on this. I was never given any notice whatsoever. And in addition, all the other properties that are listed as neighboring properties, 4 of those 7 are either vacant or unoccupied, either vacant lots or unoccupied. So literally, the only people that have been given notice on these are 3 properties. 1 property being Robert's property. You cannot even see the development. That's my primary concern. The second is that the visual impact on this, again, is completely out of character from the surrounding properties. The 46-foot setback, if you look at the pictures that I have included in my submission, I've blacked out the area that the structure will take, and you can see the impact, the obtrusive impact from my property, in addition to Highway 1. And so, yeah, so that's my primary concern. Being that my request last year to install story poles was sort of dismissed out of hand, it would have made this whole process much easier, because all the neighbors could have seen the actual impact and what the outline of the building was going to be, being that there are no story poles in there.
Sorry, that is 3 minutes.
Okay, sure. So please refer to the photographs and my submittals, and that'll lay out a lot of what I propose, or what I said.
Thank you. Okay.
We have nobody further who's asked to speak.
All right. So back to Jesse. For this type of development, were story poles required or not required?
So staff has received multiple requests from the Jesse Wilson planner. Staff received multiple requests from the neighboring parcel owners for story poles, and the request for proposed development and discussion with Planning and Building Services. We found that the request was responded to and then not required due to the proposed location of the parcels, development, and height of the structure was consistent with the visual resources.
Okay. Thank you. So I still have some questions as to the revised condition language as to concurrence with the 2 state agencies of Fish and Wildlife and Coastal Commission. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this item to July 8th, a date certain, so that we can hammer out those issues. Again, I don't want to impose a condition that cannot be addressed, but at the same time, I also feel that this warrants a site view by the Coastal Permit Administrator. And Tara, you've got your hand raised. Can you unmute?
Yeah. So I just, want to point out, while it's very understandable that this will change the views for the neighbors, that private views are not protected under the coastal element. So, in referring to those certain views and the way in which they should be protected, that is referring to public views, not private views. Generally, if there's going to be a protected private view, someone would have a view shed easement. So I would just like to point that out for the record. And additionally, this is not a highly scenic area, which, Jesse is referred to as the maximum building height in this area is actually 28 feet, and the proposal is for a residence that's actually under 17 feet. So those are just a couple of things I wanted to point out for the record in this instance.
Thank you, and you are correct. I mean, that's good clarification, and you're right. The Coastal Act doesn't deal with private views; it deals with the public views and so on. But I just need further clarification on the condition language, and I believe that it's within the purview of the CPA, the site view of the property.
Right. And if I may say one more thing about, this is a very narrow property. It's narrow and long, which might also be a contributing factor into why this house is not lining up with the other ones, as it's a different configuration with a very narrow southern tip. And as Jesse did point out, and I want to reiterate, is that some of the neighbors expressed that they prefer alternative B. And while that is understandable, one of the issues with that is then that would have the septic system on the bluff side. And if you put the septic system on the bluff side, that would, first of all, that could compromise the overall integrity of the bluff, which would not be in anyone's interest that lives in that area to have that much water on the bluff side. So this is really, not only are we complying with visual impacts, even though it's not highly scenic, but it's also a safer alternative for development.
Thank you. Good comments. So I think for clarification of the record is, as far as the adjacent notices, the statute requires a 300-foot notice. And these notices are also posted on site, and there's also a publication in the newspaper, if I'm correct.
No, not on the coast.
Not on the coast.
We substitute with the
public. That's right. And the law only requires 2 of 3. Actually, 1 of 3, but we do 2 of 3 required. So this actually is posting the property and the notices to the adjacent property. And so the county has exceeded the noticing requirements. The opportunity for the public to weigh in is during the hearing. I have the correspondence, the photos that have been submitted. Thank you very much. But what I'll do is I will continue the item until the 8th of July so that, one, we can get clarification from Coastal Commission and CDFW as to the conditions as they've been rewritten. And also so that I have an opportunity to site view the property. And, so this is continued to a date certain, July 8th. So the notice is provided by me continuing it to a date certain. So we'll rehear this item at that point. All right, so with that, let's move on to the next item. And the next item is CDP 2020-0033. The owner applicant is Robert and Ann Baldwin. Agent is Carl Ridman and Associates. This is a standard coastal development permit for the construction of a replacement septic system. This has been determined to be categorically exempt, and it is located within the coastal zone, 2.5 miles north of the town of Mendocino, on the south side of Indian Shoals Road, 0.25 plus or minus miles west of the intersection of Point Cabrillo Drive, located at 45,000 for the 421 Indian Shoals Road, Mendocino, APN 118-180-31. May I please get a staff report?
Good morning, Planner Waldman. Thank you, Nash. This parcel, yes, the request is to replace the existing septic system and serving the single-family residence. The parcel was originally developed under a coastal development exclusion permit in 1994. The project is consistent with our Mendocino County coastal, or our local coastal program, our coastal element, and our zoning ordinances. Staff recommends conditions of approval with the standard conditions of approval. There was no specific issues with this request. It was referred out and responses have been responded to, and the septic permit has been approved but not issued with the Department of Environmental Health. And if you have further questions, please feel free to let me know. Also, I have not received any public comment on this project.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any members of the public that wish, first of all, is the applicant present to speak on this matter?
No, the applicant is not.
Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter?
No, no matters from public.
All right, so return back to the coastal permit administrator. Based on the conditions and findings contained within the staff report, I will go ahead and approve it based on the conditions, findings, and approve it as recommended by staff. So with that said, this project's approved. All right. So with that, do we have any matters from staff?
There are no matters from staff.
Do we have any matters from the public?
There are no matters from the public.
All right, so with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 12:22 p.m. Thank you very much.